Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the Playmakers Corner podcast. I'm your host for today's episode, Kodey Stauffer, and we have a special guest and a familiar one for the first time in podcast history as far as interviews go. If you would like to introduce yourself, go for it, man.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Rod Green, offensive lineman for Tennessee State University.
Yeah, I should have said reintroduce yourself, right? Because as we were talking about before this interview started, Rod was a guest on our show last year, sometime around April. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and listen to that interview. Rod's story is an incredible one and one that keeps growing every day, honestly. And so since the last time we talked, obviously, a lot has happened. But, you did head into college this past fall of 21. And I guess going into college, what were some things that kind of met expectations? Like you were thinking, this might happen, and then you got there and it actually happened, whether that was the lifestyle, the classes, on the field, kind of what were some things that you think went according to plan, quote unquote?
For real, I knew the workouts was going to be harder. From high school, conditioning was hard. The workouts was hard. I knew class wasn't going to be as hard because, if you just do it, it's going to happen. Learning from good players, like the older upperclassmen, the ones that got a chance, like the seniors and everything, I was expecting to learn a lot. I learned a lot from them, too. So that was the kind of expectation I had going into college anyway.
Gotcha. And when did you start doing workouts with the school? Was that in the summer, right before the season, I'm assuming?
Yeah, right before the season. End of June, we moved in June 26th, and we had workouts June 28th. And we worked out all the way from June to, fall camp, and then the season came in August or September.
Did you feel pretty prepared for the season following those summer workouts?
Yeah, the summer workouts was hard. So, it made the season it didn't make the season. I wouldn't say it made the season easier, but it made practice and stuff easier. He's already in shape for everything. So I thought the summer workouts prepared us.
Was it the best shape you would say you've ever been in your life following those summer workouts?
No, I think the best shape I've ever been now is right now.
Fair enough. Right now. Mm-hmm. I guess up until that point.
Yeah.
Nice. And then what were some things that maybe were surprises heading into college? I mean, you said that you knew that the workouts were going to be hard and all of that, right? But what were some things that maybe were a little bit different than what you might be expecting?
Being far from home was a big surprise. I thought when I was gonna go far from home, I thought it was gonna be all right thing. But being far from home was the biggest surprise for me, for real. When I really got there and knew I was far from home, just knowing you just where you was at for so many years, and then you just so far away, that was the biggest surprise for real to me. But everything else, football-wise, no, I really wasn't surprised. I knew it was going to be hard. So
fair enough. And I guess that's some clarity, too, from a scout perspective and whatnot of how some, big-time, highly rated players end up going to the local, university or state college just because, you see 4 stars stay in state and you're like, wow, that's a little surprising. But when you say it like that, like being away from home, being a little bit of a trip, then you start to get some perspective on, okay, now I see why, in our case here in Colorado, I see why a 4-star guy went to CU, even though it wasn't the best school that he could have gone to. It's in his own backyard. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Did you ever have family come and visit, or did you usually have to go back home on breaks and stuff?
I went back home for a break right before fall camp. My mom came down there and my auntie came down there. That's how for real. All my uncles and them came down there one time. But other than that, it was you're 14 hours away from home, so they're not finna just come down there anytime you can, But then my mom came down there the most, though, and my auntie. Because my auntie lived 4 hours away. She lived 4 hours away from the school, 5 hours. So, she'd drive up there with my mom and everything. They came the most.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is quite a drive, so completely understandable. And then, I see that you're at Tennessee State now, and, I was just a little curious on kind of how that transfer portal thing kind of works and, for our young athletes, kind of what to expect and is it a little hectic? Is it pretty straightforward? Do you kind of have to be on your toes? Kind of what to expect with that?
I think the advice I give is have a plan for real. You don't want to jump in the transfer portal with no plan, honestly, because you can get stuck in the transfer portal. And I think when I left Grambling, that was in the back of my mind of when you get in a transfer portal, you never know for real, like if you're gonna play football again. Honestly, like, but I kind of like you want to have a plan. Talk with your family. High school coaches and or anybody around you. So I feel like when I got in the portal, I got in there at the right time. I got in there and like kind of like I didn't want to wait to the end of the season for real, because at the end of the season that's when everybody goes. So I kind of went like the middle of the season towards the end. They had like 4 games left, and I did that just because I wanted to have time to take my official visits and do everything. So when I entered the portal, I had way more offers than I had in high school. I had 27 D1 offers, and they had the same day I entered the portal, I had got 7 D1s, 7 Division 1 offers. So I think that the transfer portal can be helpful, but at the same time, you don't want to go in there without a plan, because you can end up being stuck in there for some years and never come back. And that's a chance I was willing to take, just to, try to go somewhere that could help me in a better way.
Yeah, no, I think that that's fantastic advice. Honestly, I've bumped into people before. They're like, yeah, I was in the transfer portal for like almost 2 years at some point. So I think that that's excellent advice to give, to have a plan, have what kind of things you're looking for in mind, get that advice from people around you to kind of come up with a plan, and getting in early. That's a very interesting. Like, it makes sense when you say it, but it's not something that I would have just casually thought about.
Yeah.
So when you did enter, and now at Tennessee State, I guess, what were some kind of boxes that you were looking to check off as you were looking for a new home, and how does Tennessee State kind of fulfill those?
I was looking for coaches that is love you as a person and a player. Somebody that wants you to do great in the classroom and life, and then football, like not just about football. I wanted to build a relationship with the coaches that was recruiting me, and like with Tennessee State, I feel like all the coaches related to me, and it's a couple coaches that I knew before then, like just from high school, and just from them being in a recruiting standpoint, they seem like they really cared for me, and then with just Coach Eddie George, just being under an NFL legend like him, and him really knowing the knowledge he can give me, and just help me get to, because I want to go where he went. So just being under him, and he genuinely cares. Like he cares about our grades and everything before we even touch the field. He cares about he's a family man. So everything that was going on, he cares about that before football. So I could notice that, and just talking to him when I went to my official, talked to him for about 20 minutes. I can just, they stood out like that. And they really care, and it was like just bonding with the coaches, and I could just tell the locker room was good too, like the players and everything. They genuinely care, so that's what stood out for Tennessee State.
I totally forgot about Eddie George, honestly, until you brought him up. But that's a big time name to have in your corner, man. Congratulations on building that relationship in the first place, and just being in the presence of somebody who not only made it to the NFL but succeeded in the NFL very well. I mean, he was a very good player back in those 2000s Titans teams. So that's awesome just to have connection wise and whatnot. And I'm glad that he kind of has that sense of connectedness and familiarity in that family kind of sense. And you talked about your official visit with Tennessee State and meeting Eddie George. How was like time management as you were in the transfer portal, doing official visits, still doing school and all that kind of? How was juggling all that, and what were some strategies that you kind of used to balance all that? Because I mean, I imagine it's different than managing your time in high school, right?
Yeah, you gotta move quick. I knew I had 3 months, so I knew I had to be in school by February. That's why I ended in November. So what I did was the first 2 weeks I didn't take no visits. I got the offers, and then after the second week, I sat down. I didn't post no top schools for real, because it was like I'm trying to get into school like right now, so I didn't feel like it was no need to. But I made like probably like a top 10, boom. And then you get 5 officials. So first I'm like, okay, I want to take this. I'm talking to coaches, seeing where their head is at with me, and I'm okay. I see this coach. I'm asking what they see me in the future. I'm asking what the graduation rate and everything is. I'm just comparing their school, because in the day, you can only choose one. But from 28, it was a stressful period. Just, you got all them schools on you, all the coaches saying, they want you, you got big things, but you really got to look into deeply, like, can they help you 40 years from now? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I was taking my time, but at the same time, it was like, you got to go. So I took three official visits out of my 5. I didn't feel like I needed to take any more at the time, but at the same time, I had to get in school by February. So when January came, December came, I already took 2 officials. Then dead period I could come, and then January I took another official, and then after that it was like I kind of knew like what was going to happen for us, so I just committed to Tennessee State. And that was my first official visit I took, and that was I took an unofficial 2 weeks into the dead period, and then I took an official 2 weeks later.
That's a pretty quick turnaround time, but I mean, that sounds like just the pace of college sports and the transfer portal and everything like that. So, but I mean, you have a good plan. I mean, like you said, you ended up with 27 or 28 more offers in the transfer portal. So you obviously, there's no fathomable way to go to all 28 schools, right? So like you said, looking at those little things, graduation rate, even, kind of like those things that'll add up. How does this program look, or how does this program look? You know what I mean? Looking at those things to kind of whittle it down. I think that that's a good, piece of advice for up and coming, collegiate players or players in college where, maybe they're looking at a similar situations like, well, what all should I be looking at to make the list smaller? Because, I mean, 27 offers, I mean, while that's a good thing to have that many, it sounds almost overwhelming. I mean, the amount of mail and reach outs that you're getting has got to be absurd.
Yeah, I was getting probably 15 calls a day. Yeah, I was getting 3 house visits a day. So I wake up, I'm on the phone till about 6 p.m. and then that coming around. Then I got a couple house visits with coaches just coming over. So it was days I'd be like, dang, it's boom, boom. It was stressful. You'd be like, it's a blessing, but it's a stressful process at the same time. Sometimes you'd be like, this is crazy. It just went so fast. Especially being in the portal, you can get 8 offers in a day. So there's all that going on. You just back to back to back to back.
Yeah, no, that's insane, and a very busy schedule for sure, on top of everything else that you had to take care of.
You had school too. I had to take care of schools too. So I was still in school online though. So I was taking care of that too while I was doing that. I was on visits doing my schoolwork.
Wow. That's crazy. How did that that first semester of school go? Do you feel like it was pretty easy to navigate? Do you feel like, what were some things that you did personally to ease into, that college workload? Because I mean, high school, you basically have to show up and have a pulse basically in high school, or at least that was my takeaway. If you have a pulse, you're going to pass your classes. And then if you try a little bit, you're going to get pretty solid grades, versus college where it's you have to be on top of it.
I mean, I always did my work, so it wasn't nothing new. But it's you got to have a good relationship with your professors, sit in the front of the class or some type, just so you're interested that in what they're doing, come to class on time. I used to get work out the way, in the morning type stuff, so I wouldn't have nothing later, unless I had studied or something. But we had practice later, so I get all my work out in the morning or something like that. But I feel like I did good. I made, I don't know, I had a 3.3, 3.2 GPA or something my first semester, and I had a 3.3 this semester too. So I feel like I adjusted real good to it for it to be my first really semester, And I feel like at the same time you don't want to work to catch up on you, because in college professors not gonna really be on you how they in high school. They got too many students.
Yeah, they can't hold your hand the entire time anymore, because like you said, I mean, they'll sometimes teach classes of 90 students at one time, and then they'll teach another course with 30 at a time. So, it can get really hectic for them, and they can't monitor everyone. So that's a really good point to bring up. And one of the biggest differences I noticed, but just never vocalized. So that's good. But I mean, congratulations, 3.3. That's a very good GPA through that first year of school. So congratulations on that, and way to stay focused, man. I know that college without being a student athlete is already insane. So the fact that you were able to maintain that while still doing sports is fantastic work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, kind of transitioning back to the gridiron a little bit, last time we talked, there were some kind of areas of improvement and whatnot that we went over. And I guess, did you have time to kind of address those, kind of like getting out of the stance and stuff like that? Or how do you feel you are as a football player compared to the last time we talked? I mean, obviously, you said that you're in the best shape of your life right now, so that makes you a better football player for sure. But I guess, what about some of those more technique-wise things, I guess?
Getting on my stances I worked on that a lot, especially in the summer and especially in spring ball. I worked on that so much. My past sets, I worked on that, so I feel like I improved a lot on the stuff that I needed to improve in high school. Getting on my stance and just pass setting was two of the biggest things that I needed to do. The footwork was already there, it just got better. So I feel like I improved a lot on them.
I love to hear that. So, did you get to do spring ball with Tennessee State this past spring?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how was that? I don't really pay too much attention to spring ball and what all that entails. Can you kind of just take us through, I guess, the session that is spring ball and everything that kind of happens within that?
Spring ball was good for me. I did good. I was a freshman, coming in being a freshman and coming into a new team, and you got to learn a new playbook. I think I did real good. I was getting a lot of reps, just running. And then I feel like the schedule, like you said, we practice in the morning, and we get our stuff out the way, and we had this practice in the morning, and watch film and stuff like that. And we would be really locked in. Like our coaches really we'd be all be locked in. We want to get better, so I feel like spring ball was good for all of us, and I feel like we made a huge step, and we're gonna keep making huge steps for sure.
Keep making huge steps. You love to hear that. And
Yes,
I mean, like you said, you're watching film, you're getting in work in the practice room, and I guess kind of you already talked about Eddie George, right? But how do you kind of what's your relationship like with your position coach and offensive coordinator and stuff like that? How's that all going? I mean, obviously it's going good because you're at Tennessee State for a reason, right? And I mean, when
sir.
you're spending that much time with those coaches, it's got to be good. But I guess what kind of relationship do you guys have where it's are you guys very serious all the time? Do you guys talk outside of
Uh, we,
practices or what have you?
our offensive line coach is really funny. Like he's serious. He always tells us always a time to joke and there's always time to be serious. So he's not always serious. Like he's not one of them coaches that's serious, but he's serious when he needs to be. And we respect that. Like we be like, okay, it's time to be serious. And we joke around too. Like he'll joke with us, we'd be laughing and everything. But when it's time to get serious, it's time to get serious. So we respect him. Same with our offensive coordinator. He's a real cool guy, laid back. He just he wants stuff. He wants stuff good. He wants perfection. So we know what he wants and we know his expectations. But he's never just always serious. He's a funny type of coach, but when it's time to be serious, it's time to be serious. So we are bound with our coaches really good because they relate to us type stuff.
That's good to hear. And I mean, it's kind of, it makes it an easier environment to work in when it's you can joke around in between, periods of time, and it can kind of relax you a little bit too, is what I found with those coaches, where it's okay, what am I stressing over? I get to play a sport that I love. Let's just play football, and just have a good time, right? And I think that those kind of coaches are an excellent reminder of that. And just, being present, right? Being in the
Sure.
moment. And then when you need to snap into shape, you're ready to do that. And I mean, that's just how the switch is for basically anything in life. So to be getting that from your offensive line coach already is a really good trait that you should be able to carry for a very long time.
Sure.
And I guess on that note, how is working with the rest of the offensive line? I mean, you said that you got a lot of reps, you got a lot of snaps, the offense is looking good. Just kind
Yeah,
of take us through the team a little bit.
You said what?
I'd say just take us through the team a little bit, through the offensive line, through the rest of the offense, and
I feel
maybe we'll
like
talk the schedule.
we did good. The offensive line, I feel like the whole offense made a huge step in the spring ball. Like I said, we were just locked in. It was good getting a lot of reps with the guys and just learning from the older ones with the veterans, the grad seniors, and just them showing me stuff that they learned and everything. I feel like And as an offense, we made a big step in spring, and even now in the summer, we just been really locked in. We're on the mission to win our conference, so we want to do that, and I feel like we're making a huge step towards that. And I feel like as a whole team, like defense too, that they're doing what they're supposed to do, and we're all on the same page. So I feel like we're doing good.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And, I looked up this schedule, and I think you guys have a pretty interesting schedule on tap. I mean, obviously, you guys have a lot of competition, even within the state of Tennessee that you guys get to kind of explore. And then you guys also get to kind of face talent from all over the country. I mean, it looks like you guys open up with Eastern Washington. I'm really familiar with them because they played in the Big Sky against Northern Colorado, which is where I went to school. And, I mean, they're really good at basketball, and then, depending on the year and, who graduated, their football team can be a bit of a challenge. Obviously, you have to be looking forward to the Jackson State game playing against Coach Prime. I mean, that's a big deal, and, maybe one that could end up on television too. I mean, obviously, you're not concerned about all that, but that does make a little bit of a difference. It only takes one viral play to turn a lot of heads. But, I mean, looking ahead at this schedule, obviously, Middle Tennessee is another team that, gets out there and is a familiar name. Yeah, BCU, Tennessee Tech, it looks like Eastern Illinois. There's a lot of familiar names in this level of competition. I guess looking ahead, how do you feel that you guys match up against some of these teams? Have you already started kind of like studying these teams yet, or is that something that is still on the docket?
We really just I feel like I take my team. Like I feel like we match up, and I feel like we're gonna do what we're supposed to do. We work so hard in practice, and we work so hard. I feel like we're gonna do real good this season. And right now, we're just taking it step by step. Just really been locked in on the little stuff, just the workouts and getting close to each other and just believing to the better on the left or the right. So I feel like as far as that, I feel like my team we're gonna do good just because we work so hard. It's only right.
Hey, that's the mentality to definitely have heading towards this season. And, first off, I can't believe that it's already July by the time that we're doing this interview, July 3rd. And, tomorrow for everyone will be like a 4th of July kind of thing. So the
Yeah.
season is fast approaching, and I guess have you guys started summer workouts, I'm assuming, here
Yes,
at
sir.
Tennessee State?
Yes, sir. We started summer workouts in June and we got it in July. So we started summer workout June, July, and then fall camp starting in August. But right now we're in a little break right now because of the 4th of July.
Yeah, fair enough. A little bit of a weekend, a little bit of a breather for you guys. That's not a bad setup.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
how are summer workouts going here as well? I mean, I'm assuming that they're also hard in there. I mean, you said you're in the best shape of your life, and I think part of that is from working out since June.
Yeah. Our workout, our strength conditioning head coach and the staff is really good and they know what they're doing. We focus on like every part of our body. So I feel like they're hard. They're hard, but it's like we love hard work. We embrace that, and our coach wants us to embrace that. So we get through that, and I feel like we're doing good, and I feel like everybody's working hard in the weight room and conditioning and everything off the field, on the field.
Nice. And then this is even a bit of a further transition, but earlier, I mean, look, we've been new, or at least I've been new. Your goal is to go to the league, right? You talk to Eddie George. He's someone who's been there, who has done that. And I guess, like, what is Rod Green's plan of action to make it happen? I mean, on top of doing what you're already doing, which is working hard, staying focused, you have goals, right? You have goals in mind. That obviously helps you reach very high places. But I mean, what are some things that maybe an average high school player that's, dreaming of going to the league probably wouldn't know about college football that you have to succeed at in order to make it to the league?
You gotta really love the game. You gotta really know the game, not just play the game. Really know the game. Like you really gotta dig deep and really know the game. Like it's a difference between playing and you knowing the game. I feel like that sets you apart. Watching a lot of film, just watching your opponent, watching yourself for real, what you can get better at. and just staying focused for real. And I feel like everything will come. As far as the league and everything, I think about that a lot. But I try not to think about it too much. But I think about that a lot. And as far as the league, it's gonna come to you. You got your film speak for itself, And once you do what you're supposed to do on the field, the league is right there. Once you show them that you can do what you got to do on the field against some of the good players, the teams that you said we play, I feel like the league's gonna come to you, and everything's gonna come. Just like in high school, as far as offers, I tell people like the offer's gonna come if you take care of stuff on the field. It's the same thing in college, just a little bit harder because it's the NFL.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're familiar with having to really grind for the opportunity. Started off junior year with 0 offers. And went and did your thing on the gridiron. Also marketed yourself very, very well. I just want to continually compliment you that your marketing of yourself is top tier, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of players do it the way you do it. So kudos on that for being just so advanced in how you promote yourself and build the Rod Green brand. I'm glad to be a part of the brand myself and promote it whenever I can. So, kudos to you on that, and just keep doing that for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, and I mean, look, I know that we went through this a little bit on the last episode, but I mean, I still think that, you've gone through a lot of transitions and whatnot through the last time we obviously did an interview. So I want you to just once again, take as much time as you need to shout everyone out who's been a part of this process. I mean, there's new faces that have been a part of your process for sure. You've gotten a lot of opportunities and visits and whatnot, a lot of phone calls and stuff, and people who have helped you through that. So, it's like round 2 of gratitude, because everything that you do, I mean, it takes a village, is what I always say, for success. So
that's what my mom always said. But shout out my moms, that's the one that always make it happen. My family, my granny, my uncles, my grandpa, my cousins. I want to shout out my high school coaches, like Coach June and Coach Doug. I also want to shout out my brothers, my friends, everybody, just for helping me and pushing me every day, just telling me I can be good. I also want to shout out anybody like you just taking the time out to interview me, and also I want to shout out Coach George for just believing in me and telling me what I can do. I got potential to go to the league at my position coach too, Coach Lou. Just believing in me as a freshman at that. So on the field at least. So that just means a lot. It takes a village. So I shout out all them just for believing in me and being in my corner honestly, and just being there whenever I need them.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense, and I'm glad that philosophy is not lost on anyone about it takes a village. I'm glad to hear that that's a sentiment that is shared, obviously across the country. So, I think that that's a very wise thing, and it sounds like you got a really good support cast around you, and this has been super. I mean, I've personally loved it, just getting a chance to catch up, so the pleasure is all mine. And we're always more than happy to have you on the show, and, through any ups and downs that you have. And I mean, look, I couldn't tell you a year ago that I was going to watch a Tennessee State game, but I'll probably watch a Tennessee State game this year. You feel me? Because I got my boy there, Rod Green, who's, taking steps and improvements in his game, and I can't wait to watch those improvements take place. And I mean, hearing that you're in the best shape of your life, I mean, I feel bad for defensive linemen, because you're going to put someone on their butt and just destroy them. I mean, you're going to get some good competition, in high school, and then you got to go against other collegiate athletes. And now that I bring that up, I guess, what is the talent gap? I mean, obviously, like you said, you got to go against some dogs at practice, in high school that were amongst the best in the state. Yes. I guess, what's that talent jump from like normal week-to-week high school games versus, getting reps against maybe some guys from all over the country?
Like you said, I was going against the best of the best in high school. Like defensive line, they were on my team. Like Taiwan January, and Jaquel Brown. They were the best. They were the best D linemen that I went against, honestly. And they were one of the top D linemen in the state. And then like coming to college, it's just you're going against guys that's like really like just built like you, but run 4.4s. Like, I mean, you got to really rely on your technique. So it's just like, it eventually get regular. It'll get regular, just how everything else did. So, but it's something that you're going to have to adjust to.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and you got to be on your P's and Q's for sure. But
Too.
I guess now that we near the end of this interview, I guess, is there anything that you want to bring up that, I think is good advice, or, emphasizing your story? I mean, that's what I want to do almost anytime I talk about Rod Green, is like, look, this guy's a unit. I watched your film and I was like, I can't believe he doesn't have, 28 offers. And obviously they came around the corner at some point, right? But, your story is just so inspiring to me. 0 stars in junior year. Obviously put
Like,
in that work, put in that, time and effort, and it paid off.
just be patient, let everything go how it's supposed to go. Just process, and God got you. Like, as far as I know, like, you don't need 30, you need one. So don't never don't get caught up in the hype and everything. Everything's gonna happen for you. Worry about yours, and everything will happen. Stuff won't happen for you if you're looking down on somebody and you're mad and this and that. Always be happy for everybody.
Yeah, no, I think that's great departing advice for sure. And I think it's very similar to what you've already been saying on our show, or otherwise, whether that was this interview or on the last interview. But Rod, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking time and for laying it down for this next generation here, and providing lessons and advice for up and coming players, just like you were an up and coming player at one point as well. So, as I said, if you haven't, go ahead and find the original Rod Green interview. That is episode 38, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And make sure to find Rod Green himself. He is on Instagram as Rod Green 0, as in the number, so RODGREEN and the number 0 there. And then on Twitter, go ahead and find him. He is at Rod Green 0 as well, or you can pull him up Rod Green 3-star. Absolutely great guy. So glad to have him on the show, and so happy to be able to call him a part of PMC fam. And, for more content, we hopefully will have another interview next week here. So go ahead and stay buckled in for that. It'll be a different kind of interview, but still a fun one. We like to do these interviews and just provide players with some experience or some learning parts, as that is a part of our whole thing, is helping out the athletes and the student athletes as well. So for more content, make sure that you're following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, anywhere you listen to podcasts, really, as we do distribute to most places. And follow us so you get notifications for all of our latest episodes. If that seems a bit much, then go ahead and follow us on social media, on Twitter at Playmaker Corner, or on Facebook, Instagram, for announcements on our latest episodes. Also, go ahead and find us on TikTok for, clips of games that we went to, season previews, all that kind of stuff, and, some highlights as well. So find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere that you're on social media, we are probably there. And, hopefully we will be seeing more and more of you around. And, as some players start to get some, time, I should say, for interviews and whatnot, we are more than welcome to having you guys on the list or on our, interview docket. So thank you so much for listening. I've been your host for this episode, Kodey Stauffer, and peace.